my name is Cold Beer, and let's start with Oblivion Remastered. Well, it's the most obvious thing to play if you like Skyrim or in general any open world RPG games, although keep in mind that this is an old game, just with a new beautiful face, a thing most of us will never have. To be honest, I would be very happy if they had actually redone all the ruins and caves to be, more modern, instead of doing a fateful remaster. Now, even if they are shiny and beautiful, the copy-paste feeling walking from one A-lead ruin to another is overwhelming. Devs explained that they wanted to keep the original feeling. I do not agree with this, but despite that, the game somehow works just fine. I played the original 2 times, one when it was initially released and once again when DLC showed up. And with the remastered version, I ignored the main quest, because honestly it is very repetitive, and did the Mages Guild, the Dark Brotherhood storyline, and Shivering Isles questline, and I already have more than 60 hours of gameplay, and I can't say that I was bored even once. Well, I am a fan. For me this game is absolutely 10 cold beers out of 10, but I don't know how all of this would feel for a newcomer. But I can assure you that if you liked Skyrim, Oblivion Remastered is just more of the same. Not as modern gameplay wise, but definitely will scratch the itch you have. Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. The game was released in 2012, but almost 10 years later it was remastered and sold, you know the drill, as a new game with a price of a new game. Everyone was raging and giving the game bad reviews, but now it's not a problem anymore. On various sales you can get it with a 70% or even bigger discount. The game itself was designed by the Elder Scrolls Oblivion lead designer Ken Rolston and set in a world with a lore of 10,000 years of fiction created by New York Times bestselling author Robert Salvatore. So this is a huge open world game where you will uncover the secrets of Amalur, from the vibrant cities to the vast regions and grim dungeons. You will have to rescue a world torn apart by a vicious war and control the keys to immortality as the first warrior ever to be resurrected from the grips of death. I must say that even on a remastered version the age of the game shows itself. It doesn't matter much, but just keep in mind that this is an old game with a new shiny armor. This game is basically a lighter and simplified version of Elder Scrolls. No rotten dead bodies, no creepy experiments, no sex scenes, and somehow a lot of male characters look a bit feminine? Don't let that discourage you. For example, I really enjoyed Avowed, and let me tell you why. The exploration part was really rewarding, and that is one of the main things that makes any open world game enjoyable. If you make an open world with nothing in it, just for the sake of it being open, it will feel empty and dull, but Avowed is not like that. Going away off a beaten path always feels like an adventure, often a deadly one. Another thing I liked very much, and I think it's the main selling point of the game, it's the fights, especially boss battles. They are as dynamic as they can get, and some are hard enough to make you reload a few times, especially if you rush and arrive underleveled. Which will you do, because while collecting some flowers for an NPC, you will find some entrance into the cave and you will be like,
"Oh, what is that? I must check that out."
And after half an hour you will find yourself fighting a giant jumpy spider boss. The biggest flaw of the game in my opinion are the cities. They feel dead and empty. Like in every Elder Scrolls game, the towns and cities are the place you want to be, to chat and barter with NPCs, and in Avowed, you just want to get out to the wilds and slay. Songs of Conquest. This game is as close to Heroes of Might and Magic 3 as it can get, but it doesn't have town screens. Instead of that, you will build your town like in casual strategy games, on the ground on the world tier. That kinda kills the mood, but everything else is by the book. It is a truly honest clone made in pixel art style, although even if you like the art style, like I do, sometimes you want to zoom in so you could look at the creatures and their features, but then you realize that you just zoomed in on a bunch of colored squares, and you can't even tell where the head or a butt is anymore. So no zooming here, adore the visuals from afar. And you have to admit, what a beautiful game this is. I seriously want to eat it, or at least put it as an ingredient into my potato salad. Music is also amazing, like a honey to our ears, and the campaign is wonderfully written. You really care about your heroes and the fate of this land. And when you finish everything, you can enjoy Map Editor and create more of this game for yourself, or just download tons of content created by way more talented people than you are. No offense, I do the same. Wizard of Legend. This is a fast-paced dungeon crawler with roguelike elements that emphasizes dynamic magical combat. Quick movement and even quicker use of spells will allow you to chain spells together to unleash devastating combos against your puny, pathetic enemies. You will collect valuable spells and relics and build up your magical arsenal to fit your playstyle, which, as we all know, is to die again and again and again. You'll find over 100 unique spells and discover various spell combinations and synergies. People on Steam are saying that this is a fun game, although it has some annoying stuff, like getting stun-locked by some basic enemy and losing half of your health. It feels like you are getting robbed by a grandma with a fork or something. Despite that, the game is very well received by players. About 90% of reviews are positive. Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is for sure the best game I have played since the third Witcher, and overall in my mind it takes 6th place among all the games I have ever played in my entire life. That is a sacred spot, knowing that I've been playing video games for the last 35 years. The game has an amazing branching story where your decisions hugely impact the world and your surroundings. Who you are, where you go, who you decide to befriend, kill or bang, everything has a meaning. Dialogues are great, voice actors are the best in the business, freedom of choice is overwhelming, you never know what you will find. You know, once I tried to speak to a frog. I said something probably not very nice and frog tried to kill me, wiped out half of my party. But I befriended a witch who likes to kidnap and imprison simple folk from the village in her dungeon. She sells me nice stuff now. I killed all the druids and made friends with goblins. Then I didn't, and everything was different. I played the game 3 times and I will do that again and again. Baldur's Gate 3 is beyond amazing, 11 cold beers out of 10. Wildermyth. Game has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, meaning that it is close to a masterpiece and it is blasphemy to ignore it. Literally, you will burn in hell, of your religion of choice, if you at least don't watch the short overview of Wildermyth till the end. Or for an atheist, you'll find cat hairs in your coffee all the time, even if you don't own a cat. Way worse than hell. So like the best tabletop role-playing experiences, this game gives you choices and answers your every decision with consequences that drive your characters forward. The best thing is that all heroes here will die someday. Yeah, that is probably not the best thing, to be honest, but here you'll get to hold on to your favorites, reintroduce them in the next adventure, and over many lifetimes you create your own legendary pantheon. This game is truly great. Orcs Must Die 3. This is probably the most entertaining tower defense game I have ever played, and that is because here you are involved in the action as a third-person character. You actually run and shoot, hack and slash, and also you place various traps and turrets, so it feels very personal, and because of that you are not just a passive observer, you are actually the scariest turret for your enemies. And your enemies here are obviously orcs. Wave after wave they will swarm your castle, and after the end of every wave you will realize that you were holding your breath all the time. Relax, it's just a game. You can play solo or 2-player co-op, arm yourself with a massive arsenal of weapons and slice, burn and zap hordes of repugnant orcs. The game is incredibly fun and at first seems easy.
Like your sister.
Oh come on, how dare you! Oh, but all this easiness is just a deception. Later games will turn into incredibly hard try again and again battles. One misplaced trap, one missed shot and you know, you're dead. Anyway, as I've said, this is an extremely entertaining game and I can recommend it without any doubts. Kill orcs and relax. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. This is a massive, challenging action RPG that drops you into a vast open world full of interesting characters and creatures. The game is made by Capcom, a Japanese company, but the whole setting of Dragon's Dogma is European. So you may think maybe because of that this game features some ridiculous moments, but Capcom was really serious about the job. They went all around Europe to actually get a lot of information, especially for the backgrounds and environments in the Dragon's Dogma. They looked at architecture and buildings and things of that nature, and also just natural environments as well. Also took many pictures and tried to recreate those as closely as possible. Well, a bunch of Japanese people in Europe taking pictures? Who could have thought? Anyway, developers actually did a lot of research in Europe that helped to recreate stuff in game, and that level of dedication is truly admirable. Dragon's Dogma has more strategy and more dynamic fights than usual action RPG games. You know, you can climb monsters here and that is super cool. Also, it's a tougher game in general, but if you like to explore the open world and love fantasy games, you can't ignore it. Gamers are talking that this is an underrated gem and is a must-play for every open-world RPG fan. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition. By player count on Steam it holds 46th place among all the games. That shows how huge and popular this game is. There is no doubt that Skyrim is a masterpiece of open-world games, and in my opinion it was decrowned from the throne of the best game in the field only by the third Witcher. By now it is of course a bit outdated, but it still lets you dive into a huge fantasy world and explore incredible places. Skyrim is single player only. There is no bullshit of other players invading your game like in Elden Ring, no other gamers walking around like in Diablo 4 when you just try to accomplish single-player campaign. Here you are alone, and everything is done for your personal pleasure. You can become a warrior, mage, assassin, or drug addict. You know, it's up to you. Skyrim is like a great book where you are the main protagonist. Superhero to be fair, but the lore is super deep. Stories, especially for guild quests, are great, and if you never played it, just do it.
And now thank you for watching, have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Also subscribe. Yeah.
Subscribe to